So Bernie is, from all accounts, feeling great, from what I understand. They do have like 24/7 media out in front of his house capturing images of his like Ford Fiesta as he pulls away every day. Is it a Ford Fiesta or whatever it is? I personally think that
something efficient.
It has a Bernie bumper sticker though.
Extremely helpful.
Swag.
For people to see a presidential candidate driving a subcompact Ford
And
car.
even for what it's worth, I mean, his house. The man lives a very lives a good, modest lifestyle.
Well, there are people who think he should be walking everywhere. So,
but here is a message that he delivered, which I think is really powerful. I think it's one of the best videos in some level that he's put out. And there's two clips of it. Let's start the first one. Is that 2 minutes, right?
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Engaged in just, permeated my mind. And I want all of you to understand that the day is going to come when 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you're going to be talking to your kids and you're going to be
Pause it for 1 second. I'm sorry. Go back. This is when he's talked about how in the course of his having a heart attack, he appreciated the fact that he has health insurance and the idea of where would you be without health insurance, as millions of Americans are. Where would you be with health, even with health insurance, looking at tens of thousands of dollars of bills? And so he's basically saying this is why we need to make Medicare for all happen. And then he has this to say about that.
So what happens if somebody had no health insurance, who felt the pain in his or her chest, or felt really sick, and said to themselves, do I really want to go to the doctor or the hospital because I don't have tens of thousands of dollars to pay for the medical bills that I'm going to incur? How many people are in that position? How many people have died because they don't get to the doctor or the hospital when they should? And it made me feel even more strongly the need for us to continue our efforts to end this dysfunctional and cruel healthcare system which leaves so many people uninsured, underinsured, causes bankruptcy, lowers credit scores for people who owe medical debt. It is an insane, wasteful, bureaucratic system based on the greed of the healthcare industry. So I got to tell you that even as I sat and lied down in that hospital bed in Las Vegas, this issue of the struggle that we are engaged in just, permeated my mind. And I want all of you to understand that the day is going to come when 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you're going to be talking to your kids and you're going to be talking to your grandchildren and looking back and say, you know what, I was involved in that struggle that finally brought healthcare to all Americans as a human right. That's what we're trying to do. So be proud of the efforts that we're making, understand the enormous opposition that we're facing from the drug companies and the insurance companies, but we are going to win this struggle. History is on our side.
All right, and then and play the second clip too.
he is the most on-message person that has ever lived. He
He's
just had a
coherent.
heart attack, and he's talking about giving health care to everyone. Beautiful.
He's committed. He's real.
Our job is, despite all of that, is to stay focused on the real issues that impact the American people. And I know it's not easy because this particular campaign, we're taking on everybody. We're not only taking on Trump and the Republican establishment, we're not only taking on the Democratic establishment, not only taking on Wall Street and the insurance companies and the drug companies, fossil fuel industry, military industrial complex, prison industrial complex, the corporate media that so often refuses to deal with the real issues facing this country. That's what we're taking on. But at the end of the day, if you're going to look yourself in the mirror and you're going to say, look, I go around once, I have one life to live. What role do I want to play? And that role goes far deeper than just defeating Donald Trump. Of course, we have to do that. It speaks to the need to create the kind of country that we can become, where people are working hard to serve each other, to understand each other. That is the country we can become. We really can. But we have to have the courage to take on some enormously powerful special interests.
I mean, that's spoken like a guy who I think, that age, you have a heart attack, contemplate your own mortality, and you think like, what am I going to spend the rest of the time and that we have on this earth doing in terms of dedicating your life to it. And I think that's pretty impressive. And next week we're going to see him at the debate. Who knows what else we will see in store for us next week.
May I just add, I'll always add the stop effing around. This is a totally unique opportunity to elect Bernie Sanders part. But Cardi B has just said, it's a little tricky now that he's had a heart attack because people have been trying to paint Bernie as like this little scrawny old man, which is crazy. When I met him, he was actually pretty strong and tall. He's 6'1". Wow. I don't feel like because he's had a heart attack, it's a problem. I have asthma. If I have an asthma attack, is my career over? I don't like that.
There you go.
Comrade Cardi B.
Here is